All right, good morning. I'm John Ahmann, President and CEO of the Westside Future Fund. Welcome to our Transform Westside Summit. I'm here joined by my
wonderful co-host. My name is Benjamin Earley. I'm a fourth generation Westside resident and a communication specialist with Redclay-Hill, and I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, no, thank you. So we're broadcasting live via social media right now. We're up on YouTube and our Facebook page. And before I start, I always like to check in to know who is here for the very first time. Anyone here for the very first? All right. First timer. You watched, but here. So so some of you who are first timers have watched us. You may be familiar, but if you're not familiar with our format, just to kind of quickly run through that, and we welcome you being here in person, is that Benjamin and I will say a few words to set things up. We will then have a devotion. Thank you, Jennifer. And after our devotion, we'll take a minute to do some self-introductions. There'll be more people in here by that point. And then we'll do some updates, talk about the Westside Future Fund, and then we'll launch to our program. And I'm looking right at our program participants, so thank you this morning, ladies, for being here. And we will have this morning, and we're excited to have one of the great longtime partners on the West Side, the YWCA. The YWCA. All right, and I see more power. Keep walking in for the YWCA. Good morning, Ann. So we'll have our Sharmen Gowens, the Chief Executive Officer, Sarah Lattimer, their immediate past chair, Ingrid Saunders Jones, board member of the YWCA, and many other things of Atlanta. Thank you for being here. And Jennifer Winn, who will be doing our devotion. So, and I had a few weeks ago, the Westside Future Fund had its last quarterly board meeting. As part of our quarterly board meetings, we have an education section for our board members to learn more about different impact partners working on the West Side. So we had the YWCA, and they did such a great job. We said we want to share this with the audience of the Transform Westside Summit. So appreciate y'all bringing it here this morning.
Absolutely. Like he just said, we got the YWCA, and this is a dynamic group of amazing women committed to eliminating racism and empowering women while promoting peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. YWCA of Greater Atlanta has been a voice for change for women and families in Georgia since its founding at Spelman College, AUCOK. In 1902, the organization's foundation is built upon a history of mobilizing diverse groups of women leaders to identify community problems, advocate for solutions, and create more equitable communities in Georgia. I'm looking forward to hearing from our special guest this morning. I'm sure you are too. As a quick reminder, we have QR codes in the back if you want a copy of today's bulletin with the bios from today's speakers, as well as other information relevant to Westside Future Fund and the collective effort to revitalize our community. You can just take your phone out, scan the QR code in the back, and you'll have the bulletin as we try to cut back on our usage of paper. So I'm excited to hear what we got going the rest of this morning.
And I was so busy introducing the YWCA participants, I forgot also to mention, please make sure you grab a ticket for a raffle. We'll have a raffle at the end of our program for a Home Depot gift card and a gift card from Goodwill of North Georgia. So that drawing, we'll say your numbers at the very end, but we want to kind of shift our mood for just a moment to one of remembrance and tribute. So we lost recently two great members of our Westside community who often were seated in these chairs at our Transform Westside Summit, advocating for the Westside. One is on Gina Wallace. She was a legacy resident of English Avenue. She was very passionate about the neighborhood. She served the neighborhood association, the West Atlanta Watershed Alliance, Proctor Creek. Agbar was frequently at our summits. He was a storyteller, a poet, and a puppeteer. He was associated for 37 years with the Wren's Nest, the historic home of author Joel Chandler Harris. And just before his death, he was honored with the Zora Neale Hurston Award for Lifetime Achievement by the National Association of Black Storytellers. So we're losing a bit of living history. And I remember when I started the Westside Future Fund, the English Avenue Neighborhood Association, Ms. Wallace was a part of that, and she was a fierce advocate for improving public safety. So she walked the neighborhoods. She advocated on behalf of improving public safety. And in the last part of her life, and she was delighted to be back, but when Herndon Homes came back online, she went back to where she had once been. So we could just take a moment and reflect and maybe say a prayer for their families and their remembrance. All right, thank you. And we will miss them. And I know we also want to talk about getting connected, which Benjamin does so much better than me.
Give yourself some credit, John. Well, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe. Follow all of our channels. Help us spread the information that we share here at these summits. The summits is a great opportunity for stakeholders, community members, corporate sponsors, philanthropists, all the like to meet, convene, connect, and engage one another. And so we look, to stay engaged with you. If you would like to be a part of a future summit, you can always send us an email at info@westsidefuturefund.com, or you can just drop by our office at 970 and come speak to us. We'll be happy to see you. Or if you're on, IG or Facebook or something like that, you can send us a DM and we'll be happy to respond to you. We love staying engaged with folks. Yeah.
All right, thank you. And now we're going to shift to the next part of our program, which is the devotion. And we always love to have a different devotion speaker, and I'll say a few words about her in just a moment. Jennifer Winn with Georgia Power and the board chair of the YWCA. But to set up, and I know he's watching this morning because he texted me he couldn't be here this morning, Dan Cathy, because he's recovering from some surgeries. But he's wanted to wish everyone well and said he'd be watching live. When we first started the Transform Westside Summit, it's now, probably over 7 years ago. To help ground the summits, because the Westside is such a strong faith community, to have, a devotion, at the beginning, and to draw inspiration. We don't ask for a literal lesson from it, but to draw inspiration from the story of Nehemiah, who was the cupbearer to the king in the story in the Bible, and went back to his home, Jerusalem, to rebuild it. So part of the story is a physical rebuilding, but the real important part, at least story from my study of it, are the values that they use to lead and build a community together. So we draw inspiration from that, and we always lead with a grounding devotional statement. So I read this before the beginning of every devotion. It's become our tradition to begin our meetings with a positive, inspirational message from a member of our community, recognizing that many in our community are driven by their spiritual faith to participate in the Westside revitalization effort. The time at the beginning of our meetings is an opportunity to share various inspirational reflections. While the speakers may articulate their personal faith, it's meant to be inclusive, inspiring, and meaningful, with the story of Nehemiah as our guide. And I am delighted to say a few words and ask Jennifer to come up. I was just speaking with her earlier this morning. I met her at a meeting when the YWCA a few years ago was building a plan that y'all are going to see this morning. And I know she has been very engaged. And she is with one of our great Georgia companies, the Georgia Power Company. She is Vice President of Corporate Sustainability, where she leads Georgia Power's efforts to develop, implement, communicate, and monitor the progress of the company's vision of building a clean and sustainable energy future. And I know that work gets bigger every day. She began her company with the Southern Company in 2005, a native of Troy, Alabama, and she lives in Atlanta with a husband and a daughter. So let's give her that very energetic clapping that y'all were doing earlier as she comes on up.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am so happy to be here this Friday morning representing the YWCA of Greater Atlanta, and I'm especially honored to provide just a few words of devotion this morning. So when I heard that the theme of these gatherings and the devotions for these gatherings was the book of Nehemiah, I'll be honest with you. The first thing that popped into my mind was this song that I sang as a child in the church where I grew up. It was a song in a children's choir play, and it was based on Nehemiah's story and the revitalization of Jerusalem. And I'm not going to sing it for you because you guys do not want that, trust me. But I'll tell you the words. Oh me, oh my, oh Nehemiah, what are we going to do? The walls are down, the gates are burned. We've bitten off more than we can chew. And that's all I remember. But it's catchy, right? And it certainly has stuck with me for probably 30 years. Every single time I've heard reference to Nehemiah, those words have played through my mind. And so, but think about how many of us feel that way sometimes, that we've bitten off more than we can chew. In this busy holiday season, we can feel that way. We don't have enough time or money to make it all happen. In our lives, we can be overwhelmed by the daily grind. In our community, we can feel overtaken by the amount of need there is. And in our world, we can be discouraged by all that seems broken and impossible to mend. But this week, as this little verse was replaying in my mind, it struck me, I don't remember what comes next in the song, much less anything else about that play. And I thought, isn't that so typical of us? That we tend to focus on the crisis, the challenge, the difficulty, how hard things are for us when things seem impossible. We often forget who provides everything we need to do the important work that we were sent here to do. Nehemiah faced seemingly insurmountable odds to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. His vision was mocked and doubted by bystanders. His own people were paralyzed by fatigue, frustration, fear, and failure. Yet he stood strong and courageous with this sort of unwarranted confidence. Why? What did he see or know that others didn't? The truth is, he didn't have any clarity or knowledge that everything was going to get done, that everything would turn out all right, or that he would be able to keep his people safe. In fact, his circumstances suggested the opposite. But I think we find the answer to these questions in Nehemiah 1:5. This is where Nehemiah has just heard about the condition of Jerusalem. He's praying from a place of mourning and despair. And what he prays is this. He says, "O Lord God of heaven, the great and awesome God who keeps covenant and steadfast love with those who love him and keep his commandments." And then he goes on to ask for mercy of the people of Israel. And what I think and what I believe is that what he acknowledges right up front, that foundation of his belief, that God is a God of steadfast love. The Hebrew word used here for love is hesed. I'm currently reading Waymaker by Ann Voskamp. I don't know if any of you are familiar with her, but she really goes deep in this book into the concept of hesed love. Because she writes with such rich and beautiful language, I want to actually read how she describes hesed love. Hesed is the forever, covenantal, always unconditionally, unwaveringly loyal, kind love of inseparable bonding, of divine family, of eternal attachment. That's what hesed love is. Hesed is attachment love. Hesed is an entirely singular kind of love that says, you are chosen because God simply and forever chooses to perfectly hesed attach himself to you. You are not merely endured. You are not hardly tolerated. You are not barely accepted. But you, your very being, your actual presence, your whole soul, all of the miracle that is you is wanted, picked, chosen, delighted in, and special. Just think of the significance of that. I believe, and if we believe that the God of the universe longs to be in complete union with us, how would we not have the confidence that God will work through us to bring all good things to completion, even in the mess that this world has made? But even if you don't believe that, I still think we can learn from this God communion that Nehemiah leans on. We can be one with each other. We can share just a sliver of this engulfing love that God has for us with one another. We can help each other stand courageous and confident through our support. Because trauma typically stems from detachment, but healing comes from attachment. So we are all here today because we are convinced that there's good work to be done in this community, and we are answering a call to do it. We are attaching ourselves to it. I am sure that there have been moments for you where the transformational work you are doing has seemed impossible, and there will be more moments when it feels really, really hard. But when the easier thing to do will be to say it cannot be done. But that's not what Nehemiah said, and that's not what he believed, because he knew he had hesed love, attachment love to give him the strength to lead his people to and through their calling. So I ask you to pray with me for one moment. Dear Father, O Lord God of heaven, the great and awesome God who keeps covenant and steadfast love with those who love him, we are grateful for your presence here this morning. We pray that you continue to draw near to us, even when we are weary or forgetful of your grace. We pray for the courage, stamina, and strength to continue your good work and give all the glory to you. We ask that you watch over this community during this season and that you guide us as we continue to work together to provide support, hope, and love to one another. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. So I was reflecting on your message, great message. So when you really resonated when you said bitten off more than you can chew, right? And like this, the work, and I remember when I still up today, when I first started the work with Westside Future Fund, that's definitely how it felt. And often, moved into Vines City 3 years ago, so I work on the West Side and seeing both what's been accomplished, but how much needs to be done. I think about Miss Wallace continuing to push on the safety issues in some of the most unfortunately violent neighborhoods in our city. But then you spoke to how you do it, right, through union and connecting to people. And so I think that's what I love about these Transform Westside Summits, about union and bringing people together to help do together that we've bitten off more than we can chew. And the last I really appreciate, the trauma is from detachment, healing comes from attachment, right? And I've talked about this with the YWCA leadership as well, is that the detachment, historically the purposeful detachment of these neighborhoods from the rest of our city, and the traumatization that occurs, and really that's been brought home living to me in the neighborhoods, the detachment feeling. So I think we sometimes appreciate that, at least for me. So that was a wonderful message. Those are my takeouts from it. But maybe we can thank her one more time. And so now the next part of our program, for those that are here for the very first time, is a part of the union part. So we can all chew more together, is doing these self-introductions. And so when I do the self-introduction, I ask for you to stand up, hold the mic relatively close, because then it doesn't pick it up if you hold it down here, so relatively close. Share your name and share your company or where you might live. And anything else you want to say, just stop right there, even though you want to say it. And we'll be happy to, whatever you else might want to say, share it in our bulletin, our social media. It's a time issue. And I would encourage, and I remind myself of this too, is to listen to the introductions, because I've always found you might, and I was just talking with Neil this morning, he was reflecting, he met someone at our summit that's now a partner with him in his work. And so part of the summits is who might be here that could help further your work, or you could be in service. And so part of it is that's the real intentionality of taking time to do this. So I will start. Are you looking at your notes? Which name are you going to use this morning? No, just I think we got, yep.
No pressure, right? Going first. Hi, good morning. Jerry Kiernan, AP Campus Insights. We help academics produce small explainer videos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Rogers Williams Jr. with Icon Filmworks.
Good morning. I'm Barbara Knight from ACSS, Atlanta Center for Self-Sufficiency.
Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Paula Moody. I'm with Families First.
Good morning, my name is Sandra Bush, and I'm a legacy resident of Booker T. Washington neighborhood.
Good morning, I'm Anthony Bellows. I'm a Westside resident and volunteer.
Good morning. Aretta Balden. I am a member of the Atlanta Board of Education representing District 2. I'm also the owner of Shades of Light Photography and a resident of Washington Park.
Thank you for being here this morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Betsy Huey. I'm with Cox Curry and Associates, and I have the pleasure of working with this YWCA team.
Good morning, Sharon Thrasher, and I'm a future Westside resident.
Right. Good morning. I'm Noah Newell with Transwestern Real Estate Services.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning. I'm AJ Ken, also with Transwestern as well. So.
Yeah. You want to go?
Hello, I'm Ebony Ford. I am representing Westside Future Fund. I'm representing Quest CDC. I live in English Avenue. My son here goes to Hollis. And I'm also representing YWCA. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Cassandra Kirk. I serve as your Chief Magistrate Judge in Fulton County. I know I look a little celebratory today. We are celebrating our misdemeanor mental health court participants. I'm going to ask that you all pray for them this holiday season. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Candace Bird. I have my own law firm, and I'm a resident of the Cascade area.
Good morning, everyone. Tamika Askew with Westside Future Fund.
And if someone wants a home with us, who do they call?
They call me.
Right, she's our home on the Westside manager.
Good morning, Nicole Jones, Westside Future Fund.
Hey, good morning. Happy holidays, Charles Ford, Westside Future Fund.
Hey, everybody. Rachel Carey, Westside Future Fund.
Lee Harrop, Westside Future Fund.
Ashley Collier, Westside Future Fund.
Chelsea Moore, Westside Future Fund.
Lewis Anderson, Westside Future Fund.
Natasha Anderson, Westside Future Fund.
Marnie Pittman, Westside Future Fund.
Raquel Hudson, Westside Future Fund.
Westside Future Fund. Crystal Walker.
Yep. And you've about met the entire team of the Westside Future Funds. They're all here, so if you want to learn more about our work, and now for the folks that bring us our live broadcast.
All right. James Hammond, Icon Filmworks.
Brandon Brando, TMPAV.
David Herring, TMPAV.
Tasama Haskins, TMPAV.
Misty Kelly, TMPAV.
Shobek Cillian, TMPAV.
Jamel Evans, TMPAV.
I'm just here to bring you guys coffee. I'm Jake Harrington, also known as JC with Small Batch Cold Brews, Small Batch Coffees. By the way, the coffee's ready, so anybody that wants some.
I should say I met him at a holiday mart over the Pittsburgh Yards, part of Keecher Bates' shared kitchen. And so it's his own business, a small batch. So I thought I'd help connect him to more opportunities. So yeah, we have a small batch coffee here this morning. It's up and brewed. It's wonderful. I had it last weekend.
Charles Merriweather, Goodwill.
Shannon Ball, Enterprise Community Partners.
Essie Lazarus. I'm a senior staff attorney at the Magistrate Court of Fulton County.
Thank you.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Daryl Peak, Icon Filmworks.
Hey, good morning.
Morning, John. Good morning, everyone. Megan Volkovic, Enterprise Community Partners, and we are a nonprofit that supports our public and private partners to build affordable housing.
Good morning, Ann Curry with Cox Curry, and we're partnering with the YWCA. I'm Phyllis Wheatley.
Thank you.
Marvin Bussey, Teens at Work. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and season's greetings to everyone.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Shirley Coleman with the Sadie G. Mays Health and Rehabilitation Center.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Katrina Holmes. I'm the program coordinator for Westside Works, our neighborhood workforce development site, and I'm also a graduate of the last cohort for the YWCA program, and I'm so excited to be here. This is my first time, and I'm super happy to be invited, and thank you for the devotion.
Good morning. My name is Soraya Williams, and I'm with the YWCA of Greater Atlanta.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cam Miller. I am in collaboration with the YWCA as well as Westside Works. I'm an instructor for technical skills and workforce development.
Good Friday. My name is Charla Mitchell. I'm a fashion designer and shop owner of Concoction the Workshop.
All right. Well, you're going to introduce yourself. Yeah.
Okay, good morning. Benjamin Earley, for those who weren't here earlier, but co-host WFF, Redclay-Hill's communication specialist.
Elijah Render, E-Brand Media.
All right.
Good morning, Sharmen Gowens, YWCA, retiring CEO, and shortly you will hear from our incoming CEO.
Good morning. My name is Ingrid Saunders Jones, and I'm so pleased to be here. I worked at the Coca-Cola Company for 30 years, and so I traveled North Avenue often. I'm a member of the Gathering Spot, and Neil and I, we try to figure out which one of us is the oldest member. I am the I beg pardon? Okay, I'll give it to you. The YWCA is both my purpose and my passion right now, and I'm totally committed to it.
Good morning, I'm Sarah Lattimer Irvin. I am the immediate past chair of the YWCA of Greater Atlanta, and I'm leading the subcommittee on the restoration of the Phyllis Wheatley building, which we are super, super excited about. We're delighted to tell you about it later.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Helen Smith Price, and I've spent much of my life on the West Side. I was born on the West Side. My grandparents raised 11 children on the West Side, and then we lived on the West Side. My parents and siblings and I went to Spelman College, worked at Coca-Cola, and I have the pleasure now of serving on the board of the Westside Future Fund.
Yeah, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Danita Knight, and I am the incoming president and CEO of the YWCA of Greater Atlanta.
Good morning, y'all. Have heard from me. I'm Jennifer Winn, YWCA of Greater Atlanta Board Chair and with Georgia Power.
Good morning. I'm Neil Shorthouse with Partners in Change, and I'm remembering Akbar, who was one of our members. Remarkable person, as all of you know him.
Joey Brown, Partners in Change.
All right, before I go back, did I miss anyone? Raise your hand if you didn't get a chance. Oh, all right. Right to my left.
That was easy. Hi, everyone. I'm Suna Lumay. I'm Director of Operations at Portal Innovations. If you want to know, that Science Square over there is where we're involved with partnerships with Trammell Crow.
Great.
Good morning. My name is Keitra Bates, and I'm the founder of Marty's Shared Kitchen. And I see you connected the dots with the first brew guy.
did.
That's great.
All right, did I miss anybody else? All right, it was the moment of fame. We'll keep on moving. So give yourself a round for taking the time to do that. Thank you. So we have a great group of folks here this morning, and I was just getting back to that union messaging. You know, some of the folks that are here this morning, what can come out of the connections of people working together. So thank you all for taking the time to do those introductions.
Yeah, we got a few more connections on social right now. I want to check in with some folks who are checking in with us. Good morning, W. Allen Bell, familiar face. Good to see you, brother. Rebecca Grover, thank you for tuning in. Sonia Dawson, our beloved Sonia Dawson, we love you so much. Thanks for tuning in. Isis Dukes, Micah Hall, thank you. Gigi Sands, thank you. Terry Harrison Halter, thank you. Miss Jania Billingsley, of course, thank you for tuning in. We got Lindsay Street Park, another wonderful West Side organization. Thank y'all for tuning in. Diana Palmer Price, thank you. Mother Moore, love you very much. Got to see you again soon. Thank you for tuning in. Regina Deloach, thank you. Melissa Missy Waller, thank you for tuning in. Carolyn, thank you. And again, Isis Dukes, thank you. Again, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Please, please, please follow our channels, subscribe to our channels, help us share the content that we share here at these summits. It's a wonderful opportunity for our entire community to come closer together, and we're happy to share that with more folks.
And I was learning, but I know it's not on the script.
Yeah.
We had a volunteer event at our offices on Saturday where folks came to wrap gifts, and but I was moving around trying to learn how people learned about our gifts, and nearly every person there who was much younger than me had learned through Instagram.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say it, but back to, I know Benjamin does a great job for our Instagram, so thank you, because thinking about the end of the year. And also he's been building up our followers. So back to, if you have something you want people to know about the West Side, Benjamin's a great resource to post it up on Instagram, to get out the word. So.
Absolutely, and I love doing testimonial videos, story videos, anything that shows the history, connection with the West Side community. So if you have a story, if you have content, if you have something that's going on, an event or something that you would like to promote, we would love to cross-promote it on our channels and vice versa. We're happy to share with you all and your organizations anything that we have going on so that we can continue to build our networks here. Yeah.
All right. And I think you're going to do our next couple slides.
Absolutely. So you've heard a bit about our team. You've heard them introduce ourselves, and this is the vision, mission, and values of Westside Future Fund for those who aren't familiar with the organization. And of course, this work would not be possible without our wonderful board of directors. Our board of directors is an all-volunteer board. These folks do not get paid for the work that they do with Westside Future Fund, but their value is immeasurable. We appreciate each and every one of them. And lastly, we've got our team slide. And so you heard most of our team members introduce themselves this morning. We got a few more on there who might not have been able to make it in this morning. But that's our team slide, and we appreciate you all. Thank you for always holding it down in the back, giving us good energy to start the show out. I feel you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you very much. And of course, we have community tours. So at Westside Future Fund, one of the best ways to get an appreciation for the scale of the work that Westside Future Fund is doing on the West Side is to come take a tour. So when I first started working with the organization back in 2020, I had to tell John on a couple of occasions that, they definitely earned my respect as a legacy resident, seeing the work behind the scenes, seeing it up close, and then seeing the magnitude of what they're doing. So they service these 4 neighborhoods: English Avenue, Vine City, the AUC, and Ashview Heights, also known as Collier and Booker T. Washington neighborhood. But we appreciate being able to show just how much ground Westside Future Fund is covering. So our flagship program is the Home on the West Side program, which provides affordable housing opportunities for legacy residents, and not just rental units. We're talking about home ownership. We're also talking about property tax relief for legacy homeowners. And a good example is our wonderful co-host and featured guest panelist moderator this morning, Ms. Ebony Ford. But the property tax relief program helps to pay the increase in property tax for legacy homeowners, which is an essential part of the program, and many people are benefiting from it right now, as you can imagine, with the values of everything sort of skyrocketing. So you can learn more about those programs at www.westsidefuturefund.org, as well as the wonderful opportunities we have to volunteer with us, as well as the wonderful, wonderful opportunity we have for you to donate. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind. But again, you can use the QR codes in the back of the room if you want to get the bulletin with the information for today's featured guests, as well as more information relevant to Westside Future Fund. Just take your camera out, scan the QR code in the back. And with that, John, I hand it back to you.
Yeah, on community tours, end of year, going through all that was accomplished there, I think I led over 80 tours this year. And one of the things I love about the tours, for folks that don't know that much either about the history, but especially about the different work, because I always on the tour drive by the Phyllis Wheatley building, and I'll say, wow, it's going to be great when that historical building, and then drive by Westside Works and talk about the great work of Westside Works. Go past the Halls Innovation Academy, and all the different organizations that are on the West Side, trying to bring back to the union, tackle on all the stuff we're trying to chew together. So the tours, we certainly talk about our work, but also how the other organizations, and institutions and history of the West Side are knitting together. So so if you ever want to take a tour, love for you to sign up. And if you got a big group, you can see if I did 80, it's a lot more than 12 weekends. So yeah, we do a lot of tours for groups that want to go during the weeks. And speaking of connections, I mentioned earlier I was at Keitra Bates's Yardies. You now have 3 locations, right? And one is at Pittsburgh Yards, one is over by Asheview Heights, and one by Hollis Innovation by M. Agnes Jones on Fair Street. And your last location is in downtown College Park. And so she had a marketplace featuring her entrepreneurs and her network, and one of them was JC, the owner of Small Batch Coffee. So he does great coffee blends, and I enjoyed I think I did 2 cups, but I'm like, let's get him at the summits serving. I can see Keitra is coaching me. Yeah. Right. Yeah, he was selling the prints. So the mural, I know it well because it's right when I turn onto my street on Sunset, at the corner of Boone and Sunset. That wonderful mural has Martin Luther King, John Lewis, and others in it. It's in a lot of when organizations are talking about the West Side, they'll often put that picture in it. But yeah, he was there. And so I got 2 pictures for my daughters, took care of my son a couple of Christmas shopping. So thank you, Keitra. It was a great marketplace. And as we get ready now to about to bring up our panelists.
Quick note, John, for those who weren't here earlier, be sure to get your tickets in the back. We're doing a gift card giveaway for Home Depot Foundation as well as Goodwill of North Georgia. So you should get a blue and a red ticket. We're going to be calling those numbers. Thank you, because I know it's always somebody who misses out. So we don't want anybody to miss out this morning. We're going to be calling those numbers at the end of the program. Make sure you get your tickets.
And that's the danger when you freelance, you forget the things you're supposed to say that are in front of you. But on so now we're going to get ready for our panelists. And so thank y'all for being here this morning. And I remember so when one of the early organizations that I learned about, and I remember it was from back to the summits. Y'all came to the summits, right? And said we really want to lean into activating the Phyllis Wheatley YWCA. At that particular point in time, I didn't know anything about it. But I do remember, because it was you and some other colleagues, how passionate you were, and you stayed with it. And I'm talking right now for folks who can't see from the back to Sarah, who at the time was the board chair. And then so Sarah, they wanted to learn more about the community, so they did focus groups and other learnings. And I remember they wanted some of the residents of the West Side to be on their advisory group. And that, by this point, I'd gotten to know Ebony, who will come up in a second. But then, someone you really could connect with could be Ebony. And I know she then worked as part of your focus group. So what's great to see is, Ebony in a moment's going to leave the panel discussion. But it'll be with Sharmen Gowens, so thank you for being here this morning. Sarah will be on the panel, Ingrid Saunders Jones, and she went, and so much of what is great in Atlanta is thanks to Ingrid Saunders Jones, so thank you for being here this morning. And then, Jennifer Winn, who's now the board chair of the YWCA, will be coming up. So our panelists are going to come up in just a moment, and Ebony will take them through a conversation. Then toward the end of our program, we'll have open mic time. So if you have other questions you would like to ask the panelists, but we're going to show a short video now. And as the video is playing, you're going to see they're going to bring up the chairs for the panelists. So when the video's over, we'll start the panelist discussion. So thank you. We'll roll the video.
Welcome to Moments in Black History. I'm Adrian Bell, and today we honor Phyllis Wheatley, a well-known poet who rose to international fame while still a slave. Before there was Amanda Gorman or Maya Angelou, there was Phyllis Wheatley, one of America's best-known poets and the first African American to publish a book of poetry. Phyllis Wheatley was born in 1753 in Senegal. She was captured and sold into slavery in the West African country at age 7. After being transported to the Boston area, Phyllis Wheatley was purchased by the family of prominent Boston tailor John Wheatley. She was bought as a domestic slave gift for his wife, Susanna. Phyllis Wheatley was a frail slave, and she often suffered from the Boston change of climate. However, after discovering her precociousness, the Wheatleys taught her to read and write. Soon Phyllis was found reading the Bible and works of such poets as Alexander Pope and John Milton. These were two of the classical poets who influenced Phyllis Wheatley to write poetry. By 1773, the 20-year-old Wheatley had completed her first poetry book and was traveling to London with her master's son Nathaniel Wheatley for publishing. While in London, she gained the recognition of Lord Mayor of London and several influential leaders, such as the Countess of Huntingdon, Selina Hastings, who contributed financially to her book's publication. Wheatley's first book, Poems on Various Subjects, was published in November of 1773. John and Susanna Wheatley freed Phyllis that same year, and she soon married John Peters, a free black grocer. She continued her poetic writings until it garnered the attention of George Washington, then a military general. In 1775, Wheatley wrote a poem entitled To His Excellency George Washington, which earned her a trip to the general's headquarters. The English-born American political activist Thomas Paine posted this poem in the Pennsylvania Gazette. During her life, Phyllis Wheatley wrote more than 145 poems before dying on December 5, 1784. She was 31. Centuries later, Phyllis Wheatley was honored with monuments and buildings that bear her name, such as Wheatley Hall at University of Massachusetts, Boston, YWCA branches in Washington, D.C., Knoxville, St. Louis, and Atlanta. A library in Columbia, South Carolina stands in her honor, along with several schools nationwide. Phyllis Wheatley, a poet, and one of the first black published authors.
That is excellent. What an excellent video to lead us into this conversation. And it is no wonder that we are celebrating the life of this young lady today. So this is going to be awesome. I appreciate all you ladies being here. Y'all look so good sitting here. Make sure you're posing. He's taking pictures right now, or maybe even live. So hey everybody at home. And thank y'all for being here as well. So I think John mentioned earlier that, and I introduced myself as well. So again, I'm Ebony Ford, and I am just all about the Westside. So again, my son goes to Hollis. I live in English Avenue. I am a director at Quest CDC. I actually have a podcast here on the Westside called Westside Wise, and I am, most importantly and most relevant for the conversation today, I also serve on the subcommittee for the Phyllis Wheatley Restoration Project. So it is very fitting, and I'm very honored to be here to lead this conversation and lead this panel of awesome women today. So speaking to that, can each of you please introduce yourself and just tell us all your affiliation with the YWCA?
Good morning again. I'm Sarah Lattimer Irvin, and I'm the immediate past chair of the board of directors of the YWCA of Greater Atlanta. And I think I'm the longest serving board member in the YWCA's history. And I also chaired the subcommittee on the restoration of the Phyllis Wheatley project, which, as Ingrid said earlier, and we share this, it's my passion to get this done for the women on the West Side. Absolutely. So thank you. Thank you.
And hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Winn. I'm the current board chair, so I get to follow in Sarah's footsteps, which are large shoes to fill. But just have been involved with the YW for about 5 or 6 years, really fell in love with the mission of this organization, see all of the great work that we do, and as the board started kind of visioning and revisioning this restoration of this building and this community, it just really energized me to be a part of it as well. So I get to work with all of these incredible people and a lot of you in the audience. So happy to be here.
And I'm Ingrid Saunders Jones, and I'm a member of the board of directors of the YWCA. And I am involved because this is such an incredible group of women. I do not waste my time. And I figured out a long time ago that this was the proper use for my time.
Good morning. I'm Sharmen Gowens, and I'm the CEO of YWCA of Greater Atlanta. It has been my pleasure to lead this organization for the last 7 years. And since we're in a space like this, you know, 7 is completion. And I am so proud to have served this organization. I mentioned that I am the retiring CEO, and but it's been such an honor. Today is actually my last working day, so you know I'm committed to the end.
She thinks.
And one of the things when I called Jennifer earlier this year and told her really around January that I thought this was the year for me to retire, I said to her, I will retire on one condition, that you will allow me to continue to serve on the committee to restore the Phyllis Wheatley YWCA.
Absolutely. Wow. Which I'm sure they said yes to that, right?
And she did.
And your last working day, and you're spending it here with us this morning. We are honored, okay? Thank you. Thank you, Sharmen. And actually, the first question would be for you, Sharmen. Tell us a little bit about the history of the Phyllis Wheatley YWCA building and why reopen it now at this point in time.
This building has been a force in this community since the 1950s. The land was actually given to us or sold to us from Clark Atlanta, who told us, even in the deed, that this building was to be used for the Negroes of the Westside community. This is a 1944 document, and that it could not be sold. In the 1950s, Benjamin E. Mays himself ran that capital campaign to build this building. Atlanta's West Side community was a thriving area. I don't have to tell you about this history. You know it, you live it. And I'm looking over here at Sandra right now, who has told me as a girl, she used to take tennis lessons as part of the programs there at YWCA, that Phyllis Wheatley building. And exercise classes. It built girls, it built boys, built girls into strong women and boys into incredible young men. Maynard Jackson himself participated. And I understand he took piano lessons at that Phyllis Wheatley building.
Wow.
So it's a long history. It's a proud history. And it's the time, and we were in this building actively until 2008. We then leased it out to the Imhotep school, and we closed it in about the end of 2014. So it's been standing there. John mentioned that this particular community started we started here at Westside Future Fund 7 years ago. We've been here, we've been working, thinking about what we could do to restore this building.
Absolutely. I heard this was the spot back
Yes,
in the day,
it
like
was.
the spot, yeah, like the hangout spot. So, I mean, and kids need that too. You know, of course you need your lessons and you do need that curriculum and that structure, but sometimes they also just need a safe space to be. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I've heard some really good stories. And this, to make sure I have it correctly, is what the building looks like right now, correct?
This is correct.
Got you.
On that triangle, we are landlocked.
Okay.
But it's right across the street from Morris Brown College. It's right across the street from the new YMCA. And we are surrounded by some amazing churches.
Yes, absolutely.
And certainly on that Martin Luther King Jr. Drive.
Absolutely, yes. It's a perfect location. Thank you so much, Sharmen. And Sarah, this next question is for you. What is your vision for what the YWCA site will look like when it opens?
So it was important to us as we began thinking about the Phyllis Wheatley Westside YWCA that we talked to women on the West Side
which would help us envisioning what this building was going to look like and what was going to be inside it. So we did 3 social circles, which are focus groups, but a lot more relaxed. So women came in, we sat, we talked, we had questions. We did one group at Westside Works. We did another group at a church on the West Side that John helped to orchestrate. And we did the final one at Magnolia Park Apartments, where we got to listen to women and understand what their issues were, what their concerns were, so that we could bake that into what we were doing. And Ebony came on, and so as a resident of the West Side, she was able to make sure that we were going in the right direction. So what women told us that they wanted was early learning, childhood education for their children. Now, we do that currently on North Highland, but bringing that quality education to the women of the West Side was really important to them. They wanted health services. And so we baked that into what we were trying to do. Mental health services was also important to them. There are some things that we're going to be able to do immediately and some things we're going to have to work on, like housing, like racial justice and advocacy. I think that being here at the Westside Summit is so important, because if we can teach women how to advocate for themselves and their families and their communities, everything is going to be a lot better on the West Side. So my vision is that it's going to be a building where women will walk in and feel this hug, like they belong there. This is for you, because this is for women who feel that they're not seen or heard. And we want to make sure that they are seen and heard, and that the programs and the services that they've asked for, we're going to be able to deliver on. So that's
excellent.
my vision.
Yes, I love that. And I like when you said for women to know that this is for them, this is for us.
Yeah.
And so I like where you did your focus groups, like you said, Magnolia Park Apartments, and really in the areas where the legacy residents are residing.
Yeah.
And so you got the real voice and the real opinion of the real residents of the West Side. And a lot of people, we all know, there's a lot of investment and interest in these neighborhoods. And a lot of people are very afraid that the infrastructure and the new investment that they're seeing is not for them. It's not for us, the ones who have been here. But this is. This is not to push anyone out. This is to bring people in and bring them together. So that is very, very important. And I think we have a program slide, which leads into our next question. What programs will you offer at the YWCA, and how will they be different or additive to the partners that are already working on the West Side? And you kind of got into that a little bit.
Yeah. So the other thing is we recognize that the YWCA of Greater Atlanta didn't have the bandwidth nor the expertise to do a lot of the programs and services that the women on the West Side said they wanted. So we partnered with organizations who are already on the West Side and doing the work. Paula is here from Families First. Families First is one of our partners. Morehouse School of Medicine will help us with health and wellness, doing screenings and education. We also partnered with the YMCA, who is our partner right across the street. And the YMCA has been they've been an amazing neighbor, you know, the kind you can go and ask for eggs. So they say, come on over, let us help you out. We're here, our building is open, you can do some of your programs and services here until we open the building, the Phyllis Wheatley Westside YWCA, which is slated to open in 2025. Who's the other partner? Chris 180 is the other partner. We all hear about mental health and the importance of wellness in that area. And so we've partnered with Chris 180 to help us in that area as well.
Excellent. Yeah, Chris 180's, you're awesome. And
Yeah.
Very, very good partner to have. The West Side is humming with a lot of new initiatives right now, as we know. Why are the programs that are going to be offered at the Phyllis Wheatley YWCA, why are they needed at this point in time?
Well, all of the research suggests that in lower income minority communities, there is a need for particular services. And so when we thought about quality education, educating a child when they're very young is so terribly important, because that kind of puts them on a trajectory of success and not into the prison pipeline. We want our kids to be successful. Absolutely. So that's kind of where we were going with that, just to make sure that the programs and the services that we offer, we're addressing the needs, and we're making sure that our children and the women are successful. Because if you educate a woman, you educate a community, a family, a community, and ultimately a nation. Which is not to say anything negative about the guys, but women are just so terribly important in this area.
And then there are a lot of female-led, households in this area.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it has to trickle down from there.
Exactly.
And I like that the programs seem to be tailor-made for this actual demographic. You guys have done your homework.
And let
your
me just
research.
give a plug for all the women on the panel. I mean, it's women who are leading this effort, which is amazing. Yeah. And the architect who was renovating the building is Cheryl McAfee of McAfee 3, a black female architect.
Come on. Come through women. Women do, run the world. Beyonce said it, not me. I'm just repeating it. I'm just repeating it. Thank you. And Sarah, another question for you. And you kind of spoke about this a little bit as well. You are not undertaking this project alone. This is a huge project. Tell us a little bit about some of the partners or organizations that you guys are collaborating with.
So the partner, I'm excited about all of the partners, but one of the partners that really excites me is Families First, because they're going to be able to provide navigator services for the women to really guide them where they need to go to get the assistance that they're going to need. The important thing is they are also going to give us metrics. So as we go out to our funders and our donors, it's not enough to say we touched 100 women, right? Well, what happened to those 100 women down the line? So, Paula, thank you so much for what you're doing at Families First. Again, the YWCA, and Sharmen's going to talk about this later, but they've allowed us to put some of our programs and services in place over there, so we're happy about that. And Chris 180, of course, with mental health services is just really key. Morehouse School of Medicine will provide, as I said earlier, education in the health space, referrals to other places that women may need to go for, in-depth health services. And then, of course, there's the Westside Future Fund. And I can't thank the Westside Future Fund enough because they have guided us throughout this, what is it, John, 7-year process? 7 years. And so those are our key collaborators, and we're happy to be working with them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sarah. And this next question is for Sharmen, and this may be what you meant when you have been partnering with the YWCA, and maybe this is where the location is. So the programs what programs of the YWCA of Greater Atlanta, what programs are you guys offering right now in the Westside community, and how can women who are interested in them get signed up?
Absolutely. Thank you. We are so proud of our Digital Skills Academy. We had been planning the Digital Skills Academy prior to 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020.
Yes.
The pandemic kind of stopped us, but we paused like the rest of the world and said, we can do digital training virtually.
Yes.
So in 2021, we had our first class of digital skills training, and they were all virtual. As things got better in 2022, we wanted to be able to, we knew that the virtual worked and it was effective, but it's something about what Jennifer mentioned earlier, attachment, being connected and seeing each other. So we've said, we can go ahead, prior to the opening of the building, make our footprint in this Westside community, and we have worked with Westside Works and the YWCA in using their facilities to have trainings for women in this community, digital skills. I'm looking right now at Katrina, who's in this audience, who is a graduate of that program. Katrina has gone, yes. She is working at Westside Works, and I was told that as a result of going through this digital skills training, she has already been promoted and doing more work there. What the women have said to us is that they have walked out of there becoming so much more confident. Yes. That one older woman said, now I don't have to have my grandchildren to tell me how to turn on the computers. You know, I can work this for myself. But incredibly, there was one woman at the graduation in November who said to me, her aunt and uncle were at the graduation, and they said, thank you so much. This is the first time she's ever completed a course. That was a powerful statement. So that work is what we are doing right now in this community. Soraya Williams, who is in the audience, is our manager leading the efforts in the West Side. Cam is here. She has also been our trainer. And we will start these courses up again in the first quarter. But we just, I believe it was 84 participants. And I'm going over the stats, but over 90% of them completed their resumes. They got professional resumes written for them. They got professional headshots. They've been set on a track to succeed. They've learned skills, basic skills. In fact, some of them, I'm going, maybe I need to go to these classes to navigate this digital world that we live in. And it's just incredible what they are learning. Cam is an incredible instructor. I've listened to her, and the women are walking away from there much more equipped, much better equipped. Some have even gone into doing businesses for themselves. There have about 40% of them are now making income levels higher than what they were when they started. So it's just it's an awesome opportunity for us to be here. And it is the legacy work that we will do and continue, because when we started, Sarah, one of the things we said for sure is that women needed to make livable wages. Yes. That they could be able, and COVID taught us that virtual work was going to be important. Yes. So this digital skills training class couldn't have come at a better time.
I agree. 2020
Amen.
digital skills
Amen.
is very, very, very important. And it kind of seems like women get left behind when you get into the digital world anyway. And so this kind of levels that playing field. And then the other thing that stood out is confidence.
Yes.
You can have skills, but if you don't have the confidence to know that you can apply them and put them to work for you, it would be lost. So that confidence is extremely important, paramount, actually. Thank you. Thank you, Sharmen. Appreciate that. Sarah, this question is actually for you this time. What is the difference between the Phyllis Wheatley Westside YWCA and your neighbor right across the street, the YMCA?
So I won't focus on differences. I'll focus on, this is what we call a collaboration in action. So all of our partners, we're all collaborating together. I think what we share, though, is a focus on early learning, healthy living, and social responsibility. Excuse me, those are some of the things that we share in common. So as we think about collaborating with the YMCA, they're going to be kind of sharing their funding sources. They're going to share their information. They're going to share their space, which they are already doing. And we're going to convene with them quarterly, because with so much happening on the West Side, and we've got the YM on one side, the YW on the other, and we know in research that we've done that there's a lot of confusion between the YM and the YW. So I think the more we collaborate, the more we talk about the work that we're doing, I think the better off it's going to be for both organizations. They're also going to share best practices, because they've been doing this a long time. And they have some wonderful teachers over there who are going to collaborate with our teachers to make sure that the education that we're giving to the children on the West Side will all come together.
Absolutely. Ingrid and Jennifer, your turn. So who is involved in leading this effort? And then give me your visual, each of you, of the committee. Actually, I think we have a slide of the committee.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. think there's a little typo there. Do we have the visual of the committee, the slide? And again, the question is, Ingrid and Jennifer, each of you, Ingrid, you can go first. Who is involved in leading this effort?
Well, it's an awesome group of women, and I hope you do have the slide, and we can, so we can see it. Absolutely. I don't want to read them all out, but okay. You know, we've got honorary campaign co-chairs. Billy Aaron is one of the honorary chairs. Alice Ball, Shirley Franklin, and Stollard. I was with Shirley yesterday, told her about this meeting. Our campaign co-chairs are Tad Hutchison from Delta Airlines, Erica Qualls-Beatty from Marriott, and of course, Jennifer Winn. And then we have our Academy of Women.
And Ingrid left herself out.
Oh, and Ingrid Saunders Jones. And then we have our Academy of Women Achievers. Our co-chair is Sarah Lattimer, and I'm co-chairing that subcommittee with her. And Judith Taylor, I was with her yesterday and told her about today, is also a part of that. And then you'll see the committee. I won't read the whole committee out, but it is a dedicated group of people. And we have put together robust business routines. We don't just think about it. We don't just want it. We have done the work. And I'm going to look at Sarah and Jennifer. I'm telling you, we sometimes we meet 4 times a week.
That's the truth.
And we meet weekly, and we meet weekly on individual subjects. Now, you know, I may seem a little enthusiastic about that, but that's how you get work done. Absolutely. And so since I have the mic, I'm going to go off your question a little bit.
Please.
And tell you that I was so inspired by Jennifer's words this morning, because I have been known to talk about how Atlanta can do tough stuff. And that is what this dedicated group of women and a couple really good men, Tad, John, and anybody else who wants to join, that is what we have said we are going to do. Now, I'm 30 years at Coca-Cola, but I worked at City Hall for Maynard Jackson. And you know, Maynard Jackson, he decided he could do anything. So let's talk about what we have done. When I first got to Atlanta in '77 and went to work at City Hall, one of the things that was happening was the airport was being expanded. And when Maynard Jackson asked for a study about airport expansion, the study from all the engineers came back and they said, we can't do it. And he said, why can't we do it? They said there's an expressway there. And he said, well, let's move the expressway. Maynard Jackson worked with the federal government, Department of Transportation, and moved the expressway. And that is why we are what we are today as a transportation hub for the world. Tough stuff. This city built a stadium, a baseball stadium, before they had a baseball team. What they were doing was looking around the corner, not just in front of you, but looking into the future. We've built the Beltline, but before that, we got the Olympics. Do you know, Pete, the whole world thought we were crazy when we said we were going to host the 1996. We have a way of galvanizing community will, and we can do that. Now, particularly right now, current day, you look at, we've turned Martin Luther King into a boulevard. We've built a bridge over Northside Drive. We've got the finest stadium, I think, in the country. Jerry Jones would, probably want to challenge that. We have the #1 big box retail store on Martin Luther King, serving the community and benefiting from the community. And we sell the best chicken sandwich in the world on Martin Luther King. So when all of the action of the Westside Future Fund is chronicled, I want there to be a section devoted to women and children. What did we do for the women and children? And that can happen, that can start at the Phyllis Wheatley Y. Now, I think I went off your question.
No.
But that is why I am here with purpose and passion. See, many of you don't know, my first life, professional life, was as a teacher. And I've never, ever, ever let that go in my purpose and passion in life.
That is excellent, and you shouldn't let it go.
Yeah.
You should not let it go. And you know, we have a little time, so you're good. And I love how when you come here and we have these panels, we talk about, you know, the subject matter at hand, but we always get like a history lesson, right? Like an awesome history lesson, because, you know, I've been here 15 years, so I'm not quite a Georgia peach yet. You know, I don't know how long you have to be here to get one, but I don't think I have one yet. So a lot of these things before my time here in Atlanta. So just coming here, the connections and, you know, meeting people, but also learning about this city that I love now and call home and raising my son in. And that's always so special and unexpected. So you're good. We appreciate you. We appreciate it. Thank you. And so this is you kind of almost segued into the next question anyway, because I want each of you ladies to tell us personally why you are involved in this project. Start with you.
Oh my God.
So I know it's a big question.
I love this project because, so I have a small advertising agency, and our focus is on the African American segment, and we have a special practice that targets African American women. So I'm always keeping track of what's happening nationally around African American women. So in the Phyllis Wheatley project, we started talking about that. That so appealed to what I do every single day and what I love about women who look like me. Women who say to me all the time, you know, people just don't see me, they don't hear me. I'm kind of invisible. I wanted to bring visibility to women who look like me. And the Phyllis Wheatley building was a great opportunity for me to take what I do professionally and do it as my passion project. So for the last 7 years, this has been my passion project. We're gonna open up the building in 2025. I pray that I am here to see it and feel it and experience it. But I get emotional about the Phyllis Wheatley building. And so I just love what I do. And the Phyllis Wheatley building gets more time than what I do normally. But when you love something, it's not like work, it's really what you love to do. And so that's my passion project, like Ingrid.
Yep. Well, first of all, how do I follow these ladies? I don't know. But I'll tell you that what I really love about this project is in my own life, I know, I see, I feel the challenges of being a woman, a mother, a working woman. I understand, you know, the challenges of even, you know, the struggles with mental illness, and I have so many resources to deal with those challenges. I am blessed to have resources, but there are so many women who do not have those same opportunities and those same resources, and I can't imagine how they get through and make it and are such strong, incredible people. And so to be able to give that back to someone, or many ones, I hope, in this community is just something that I'm very tied to, and I hope to be able to continue to be a part of.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things, because I already told you some of the stuff, but one of the things I worry about is how Atlanta can be all that she is, and with the statistics about economic mobility. I mean, how can we be such a great city? And so many of us look into the future and can't see a better future. Now, Sarah can give you those statistics, but I think it's just appalling. And we have to do everything we can do to change that. And to other earlier points, when we change the lives of women and educate the children, we can change that statistic.
Absolutely.
And that is why I am passionate about this project.
Absolutely.
So I guess it's my turn now.
Ms. Sharmen, yes.
I'm looking out and I'm seeing Helen Smith Price.
Yay!
Yay. In this very room, about 7 years ago, she looked me in the eye and she said, nobody's doing anything for women on the West Side. There are all these programs, but nobody's doing anything specifically for the women and the children. It's your job as YWCA of Greater Atlanta, eliminating racism and empowering women. It's your job to do that. I heard her. I had to internalize that for a while. And then I walked into that building, because we go into it periodically, make sure it's well kept and everything. And every single time I walked into that building, I would close my eyes and I would hear the voices of the past. I could actually hear the laughter and the joy and the energy. And I said, this has got to come back to me. And that has been my vision. People go into it sometimes and they go, oh my goodness, it needs this and it needs that. And all I can see is what it's going to be.
Amen.
The vision. And when I've gone to classes, attended some of the classes, even with the digital skills, and hearing the women talk and their energy, I want all of that in the West Side, in our Phyllis Wheatley YWCA building. And what it means is a promise for the future for me, to me. And I'm so committed to that, because there's an old saying, we're only as strong as our weakest link. But imagine when we strengthen the weakest link, how powerful we will be. We'll be able to have women who are prepared for the workplace, to be entrepreneurs, children that we're raising up and instilling in them, and the importance of education, and building a foundation in them, preparing them for school. And not only while you're preparing them, you're giving the women power, because they don't have to worry about good child care for them. They'll have that right there in that building. Yes. When they've got issues of their own and just need to maybe sit down and talk to each other. Imagine a group of women who may be pregnant, who are just sitting in there talking to each other. They may be quilting together and just chatting together. It's all of that. It's all about, as we build this community, we strengthen Atlanta, we bring more power, we help to dispel some of the institutional racism that has been going, the systemic racism. That's what empowers me. That's what really motivates me. That's my why. I can see it. I hope you can see it with me. And envision it, and 2025, 26, 27, even long after I'm gone, the women in this community, in this city, I'm hoping that women from all over the city will want to come and be a part of YWCA's Phyllis Wheatley Westside community.
Yes. They will come. I see the vision, and they will come, and I cannot wait.
You built it.
I
and they will
cannot
come.
wait.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. So just one last question for you, Ingrid. Close us out.
Okay.
So we've talked about the why. What about the why now? Why do this now?
Why do it now? Because it's needed now. You know, and we've got to do everything we can to help the children, to help women. You know, Jennifer made a very good observation as she faces every day. She has resources to help her be a better mother, educate her children, manage her job. And there are those who do not have that. And education, I'm not bragging on me, but I was the executive director of an organization before I moved to Atlanta called the Child Care Coordinating Council of Detroit, Wayne County. And the only thing we focused on is child care outside of the home, because it was so critical during that time as women were going really into, not back, but just going into the workplace. And so there is no way that we should underestimate what child care means, what having the navigator services that will be provided, having the resources of the Morehouse School of Medicine to support the family, as Jennifer, you know, referenced it to her own life. I think that's the now. And you have to stop and do the tough stuff.
Yes.
When the tough stuff is needed.
Absolutely.
And I think that this is needed now.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I think about when, and I always kind of share a little bit of my story. I don't mind at all. When I left my ex-husband 5 years ago, Jeremiah was 1. And childcare was the biggest issue. I wasn't working. I was a stay-at-home mom when I was married. And I needed to go back either to school, to training, to work. I had to go somewhere. And the biggest issue was finding childcare. And I had to cross 75 and go to Old Fourth Ward. And who wants to cross the highway if you can help it, right? To go to the east side to get childcare. And it just, how awesome it would have been, how awesome it will be for women who will be, unfortunately, life is life, going through what I went through 5 years ago, to have this resource right in the community.
And it's affordable childcare.
I was going to say, yeah. So it was
childcare is there, but it's affordable childcare.
Yes, that's the difference.
In your community.
In your community.
Right?
Absolutely. That is very, very important.
Yeah.
And so, and it would just be you lift it up from the floor. You put that woman back into the workplace. I went to Perscola's, Westside Works. I saw that there on one of the slides. And then I started working for the state. And but if it wasn't for that foundation pulling me up, I wouldn't be here to provide for my child at all right now. So this resource is coming up for women who will be going through what I went through. And I can't wait to see it. Cannot wait. Can we give it up for this panel? Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I think I'm going to be passing it to Mr. Benjamin over there if you have any questions from the audience.
Thank you. I have a quick comment. I've been brought to happy tears, and my face is about to break from smiling so hard. You know, I was reared in the household with 6 men, 5 uncles, my grandfather, and my grandmother. She was the queen and I was the princess.
That's right.
I said that to say thank you for being here, sharing what you have, and to say, girl power.
Absolutely.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Linda Adams, and I live in the Vine City neighborhood. And I'm glad to hear that the conversation from the YWCA is back on the grounds running. I just want to say that seniors has been forgotten many years. They are grandmothers, great-grandmothers, and nanas, and community grandmothers. As we all know, seniors are the key to our future. So my question is, what or will you be providing any programs for seniors? Like she said, imagine the stories that seniors can share.
That's a great question, and one that we have discussed among ourselves here, that seniors are important. And so we are going to have programming for seniors. We've not exactly identified what that program will be yet, but seniors are at the top of our list. So we will not leave seniors out.
I just want to say, I'm glad to hear you say that. I started a program called Westside Seniors on the Rise, and where we do social things for the seniors, because as you know, we was all locked in. So we do social stuff like Valentine's Day, Mother's Day. We just had our annual Christmas luncheon, and the seniors love it so much to get out and be socialized. So I'm hoping I can hear from you soon.
So in the building, we want to have a space where Sharmen talked about women coming together to talk about issues they're facing, concerns, and the ability to just form a group.
Community.
Gathering.
Yeah, a gathering where they can come together. And it's so important in our culture. Seniors are really important, and we learn from our seniors. So we absolutely will have programming that addresses the senior citizens. Thank you for the question.
And I'd like to add one other thing. You have to think about, we've described very specific programs, but please think about the Phyllis Wheatley Y as a community center also.
Right.
When you talk to people who have history with that, they had dancing lessons there, they trained for the cotillion there, they had sorority meetings there. That's where people came to gather and to celebrate community. And I think that is what the Phyllis Wheatley Y will be again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And even in some of the programs, we don't, there are, particularly even now, what we do for older women, we make sure that we provide free mammograms for women 45 to 65. So we are already in that space of taking care of each other. Our Digital Skills Academy does not have a limit on the age. I mean, we'll take young people. I mentioned that a grandmother said that now she was able to. And I just want to add too, I don't know if Richard Hicks is here. I thought he was coming. Richard Hicks is with Inspired EDU. They provided the laptops for this digital skill. So the women not only walked out of there with skills, they walked out with the tools on which to perform these skills.
So I just want to introduce myself really quickly again. Once again, I'm Paula Moody. I'm the CEO of Families First, and I've been with Families First for 9 years, but I'm actually 6 months on the job as CEO. For those who do not know, Families First actually was born in the West Side, 132 years on the land that is now occupied by Spelman College. So we have a huge commitment to the West Side community. We are back in the West Side community. Our offices are located on Lowry. And we are just really honored to be a part of the Phyllis Wheatley Center. As Sarah said, we will be providing navigator services, and very importantly, we will be helping the the Phyllis Wheatley Center with gathering the data that will inform the work that they're doing, allow them to get in front of funders that proves what we're doing is making a tremendous impact on the community. And so I want to just thank the YWCA. We are so thrilled to be a part of this and really committed to helping the women in the West Side community go from surviving to thriving.
Yes. We thank you, Paula.
I'd like the panel to address the sexist notion and how the Phyllis Wheatley Y destroys the sexist notion of women as the weaker sex.
You see this gang right here? This is
Neil.
it. You see this gang?
Look at the family.
It is destroyed.
Say more.
I've said all that today.
That was a myth, not a reality.
That's
right. Never a reality. That's true.
Should I go? Yes, I'm Shirley Henderson Coleman once again, and I'd like to say I'm a product of the YWCA in Atlanta. Specifically, I attended summer day camp at the Phyllis Wheatley Y. My parents' business was right down the street, Henderson Travel Service, which is now the Atlanta Business League building. And I learned to swim at the Edgewood YWCA downtown. I was probably one of the first black children to go to Camp Highland for a number of summers. And when I became a young adult, I was on the tennis team at the Y on Campbellton Road. So the YWCA has been in my life and helped to make me the woman I am today. And I'm just so proud of you guys for this revitalization of the Y on the West Side and your wonderful plans. And I'm personally committed to helping. Just want to say that. And as well, I currently am Director of Development and Marketing for Sadie G. Mays Health and Rehab Center. So as this lady has said about helping seniors, we want to be one of your resources too for health care for your elders who come to the center who need either short-term or long-term nursing home care. So please call on us for that as well.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shirley.
Hello, Aretta Balden, and I too want to say thank you. So when I went to Spelman, I volunteered at the Phyllis Wheatley Y, and so there were a lot of programs that were there for children, and I was able to get involved. And my daughter attended Imhotep Academy at the YWCA, so I'm thankful for you all opening that building up and allowing that to happen. And I'm sure some of the laughter that you hear is from those children. And I am super excited about the early childhood care, super excited about just everything that you're doing, and I too am here as a resource. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Tillman Ward Community Resources of Atlanta, based in historic Vine City. I'm very grateful for the visionary panel that we've had this morning. Thank you. And I'll start with Ms. Sharmen. Her commitment to continue to serve, to be a friend, which she's already been to Morris Brown College, which Dr. King's mother attended, and Miss Aaron, Billy Averin, she was working and helping Morris Brown as well. And my good friend, Ms. Saunders, with Coca-Cola, she's modest. But when she worked with the highest ranking persons at Coca-Cola, I gave her a picture of Dr. King holding a Coca-Cola. So it was on his desk. She didn't say who did it. But we are most grateful for that. And as Ms. Henderson with Henderson Travel Agency, doing the itinerary for Dr. King for the 20, 30, 40 different countries he visited, Dr. King took time to hear a concert of two young ladies at the Phyllis Wheatley YWCA. Wow. Two people played the piano. One was his daughter. One is now a judge. Now, how do we take that into creating this beloved community that you all are going to make sure happens? Yes. We appreciate it. I hope to get the number of cities that are around the United States that Dr. King visited, as John often says, that Dr. King would be proud of. I've visited cities across the United States that have the name Martin Luther King. We want this to be the exemplary ones. Yes. And we're well on our way with your help.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you.
I think we have time for one or two more. Any?
Yes, I believe Ms. Danita would like to say something.
Yes, all right, I think.
I put you on the spot, Ms. Knight.
I'm so sorry. It's part of the territory.
Right, exactly.
So this is my Nehemiah moment. But I am not afraid. I am prepared. It's important for me to share with you that this entire group of fabulous women have been onboarding with me since I said yes to the opportunity. Sharmen and I call ourselves the power couple because we go out into the community to many events because we want to ensure that this community understands that there is a seamless transition of power going on. And all is well and all will be well. So thank you all so much.
Absolutely.
That's great.
I think we're all finished. So again, give it up for this panel, please, one more time. Thank you. Thank y'all. Here you go. Ladies, I think you can exit on this side. They're going to walk this side. Either one?
Either side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any, many, mighty, mo.
Someone, you got to carry that.
Oh, she's
Yeah, I'm good.
Be careful. Move it up the way a little bit. There you go. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you, Sharmen. Appreciate you. All right. All right. Where my co-host at, y'all? Don't leave me up here alone. Join me, please. Thank you.
I'm sorry, can we give it up one more time for these powerful women? I mean, what a way to close out the year.
Yes.
And round of applause for the lovely Miss Ebony Ford.
Thank you.
You all can check her out. She is the co-host or host of the Westside Wise podcast
Westside
now.
Wise podcast. Yeah, and so if anybody wants to check it out, like I always say, if you're not tired of seeing me here every first and third Friday, and you still want to hear and see some more from me, the website is questcdc.org/wise. And again, it's called Westside Wise, and it's all about the West Side, bringing resources, bringing information, and just, again, making that word connections, right? Getting us all connected so we can pull each other up.
Yeah,
Work
and it's
together.
powered by AT&T, so shout out to AT&T, Georgia.
Yes, I forget that.
All that they're
Sponsored
doing
by
on the
AT&T,
West Side,
yes.
yeah.
And I did want to say one more thing. You talked about home on the West Side, and you talked about the anti-displacement tax fund portion. So it is kind of tax time, right? My taxes, when I entered when I entered the Home on the West Side program in 2017, was $27. This year, my taxes are $2,200. So guess how much I have to pay? $27. Okay, so, and that is city and tax. So the point is, it is real. It is not a scam. It's not a joke. They're not trying to take your house. They don't put a lien on your home, anything like that. But I really wanted to drive that home and really talk about the specific numbers. Home on the West Side, I promise you, get with it, okay? It's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry,
All right.
I had to say that.
So thank you. I was, Bill, many of y'all know Bill Bowling, one of Atlanta's best longtime conveners of meetings. And Bill is the now chair of the Food Oil Alliance, our partner in activating 970 Jefferson Street, where Bill's been for a long time leading the community food bank. But Bill he's kind of a great mentor friend, and always will say, you should give a few words to kind of wrap up what people heard at the end of the summit. This is one of his coachings. So I was reflecting on that because I think we heard this, one of the things I really took out of this morning, right? The energy of a powerful, inspirational vision. So thank you for sharing that. The power that comes from, people meeting each other, connecting, because a lot of what we heard this morning, not just from Transform Westside Summits, but from Atlanta's history, other things about the power of connection, often with those you don't know that well or know at all, to make something big and wonderful happen. And the other thing I was also reflecting, because and I'll tell you, y'all, it was a real learning for me. Because, often I like all the movies where people are learning from like the sage, and the sage often says the same thing, and it just takes a while for the person trying to learn from it to actually get it, right? And so one of my big learnings working with y'all, because the Phyllis Wheatley building is a wonderful asset. So you can imagine there could be a lot of different ideas about other organizations who might want to activate that building, right? Mm-hmm. But one of the things that really I came to appreciate is just not what gets done, but who does it.
Absolutely.
And the who, I think, could be more important than the what, so that the YWCA is activating their building, right? So that who and how important it is, and I think we saw this morning why that who is so important. So thank y'all for sharing that this morning. It's been great working with y'all and seeing how much progress you've made. It's very exciting.
Oh, yes,
So thank you.
I don't have the actual runner show with me, but I don't know. Is it time to announce the winners?
Yeah, it's time for our gift card winners again. We are giving away 2 gift cards this morning, one from Home Depot Foundation, the other from Goodwill of North Georgia. Home Depot Foundation and Goodwill of North Georgia have both been, substantial partners in revitalizing the West Side community, donating millions of dollars. offering jobs and opportunities for people to, experience upward mobility, and so many wonderful programs that they bring to our community. So our first giveaway, we're gonna go with the red ticket for the Home Depot gift card giveaway, and the number is 3990771. Again, that's 3990771. All right. Come on down.
Come on.
All right. All right, thank
There
you.
you go.
Congrats. Smile for the camera. We're going to get a quick little holiday picture with you. You feel?
Detroit pose.
All right, congratulations, congratulations. And our round of applause for the winner. Okay. And our Goodwill of North Georgia gift card ticket winner is 130388. 1303. Okay, now, yeah. Listen.
Come on.
And I'm happy for it. This is one of our most loyal summit attendees. She's always present, and we appreciate your presence. She do keep us straight, because she got us straight about that Booker T. Washington community. She sure did. She got us together.
I have my Booker T's alma mater on.
Yes, ma'am.
I like it.
You want to take a picture? You want to? Look, this is your moment. All right, thank you. Appreciate you. John, any further reflections before we wrap up?
I think I shared my best reflections. Let me say thank you everyone being here this morning. Wishing everyone a happy holidays. The Transform Westside Summit, we won't be here for the first Friday of January because it's right around the New Year's holiday, but we will be here for that third my brain's giving out, third Friday of January. And that first program we thought we'd do from Westside Future Fund perspective is kind of talk about the year ahead. So, some of the schedule of the Transform Westside Summits. We also really want to be kind of share our development pipeline with our housing program and other things. So kind of the beginning of the year, we'll give an update on our work and what to expect for the rest of the year. And looking forward to being back with my co-host. So thank y'all for such a great job this year.
Absolutely. It's been a great year. It's been an honor and a privilege to stand beside you all. And we hope you enjoyed the complimentary Chick-fil-A this morning. Again, shout out to Chick-fil-A. Dan, Kathy, please get well soon. We love you. We appreciate you. And again, from our wonderful vendor, wonderful vendor. And thank you to Marty's for all that you do to uplift Black businesses on the West Side, Black food businesses. We appreciate you. John and I both had the opportunity to drop by the market the other day, and it was wonderful. It was, it was just pristine, and we appreciate everything that you all are doing. Keep up the great work. Again, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. This summit and all the others will be permanently available on YouTube and Facebook, so you can always share them or replay them at will. And with that being said, y'all have a happy holiday season. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in 2023. Have a good one.
Woo! Ooh, sorry.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it.